Welcome to another English Sparkling with Tweedy video. Sorry for the rather lackluster backdrop. Leckford Estate. This is a supermarket own brand English sparkling. Unlike some of the others, they haven't just lazily gone off to an existing producer of English sparkling and asked them to make something and slap their own label on it. This is from Waitrose, and they actually own their own farm, I think it is. Here it's called Leckford Estate, but I think they do more than just grape growing at Leckford. I think it's a sort of big farm, and I believe I heard from an employee at Waitrose and or John Lewis that you can opt to sort of do a sabbatical there. I believe one of the perks of at least certain bits of that organisation is that you can say, I'd like to sort of work on the farm for a bit. So I think this is partly kind of employee ran. It's in Hampshire. The vinification is done for them by Ridgeview. Chardonnay, Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. I assume they're therefore present in that order, more Chardonnay than the other two. And it says aromas of toasted brioche and hazelnuts give way to a creamy palate with apple and peach flavours and a citrus twist. So apple's going to come from the Chardonnay, the peach might be something from the Pinot, and a bit of citrus, again probably from the Chardonnay. Got an actual vintage on it, 2019. Pale colour there. That again gives me the sense that there is more Chardonnay here than anything else. I'm not getting that kind of slight blushing or oranginess you might get from something with a bit more Pinot in it. It's quite a nice nose to begin with. It's something sort of clean about it. I quite like there. And yes, I suppose there is a hint of brioche, and I'm getting something slightly citrusy. Maybe in amongst all of that, a little bit of orchard fruit, bit of apple. The latter there isn't as abundant as I might have initially guessed, though. There's just a hint of apple. Perhaps the fruit character right now is a little bit more leaning towards the citrus, which is interesting. But yes, definitely something. I think brioche is a good note. It seems like a generic thing that's bandied about a lot in terms of autolytic character in sparkling wine, but I think here it's pretty appropriate. Part of the reason I say that is there's something quite creamy to this nose as well, and that's what sort of lifts it out of just being bready. Brioche, of course, being also made with milk, and is it possibly eggs? It's a sort of cakey version of bread, thus the Marie Antoinette confusion. On the palate, nice bit of zing, nice bit of crunchy green apple. It seems the apple is more evident there, so I'm obviously getting a decent hit of malic acid there, indicating apples, particularly green apples. Yeah, I really like the zest there, an appley sort of zest, appley sort of tanginess. And that creamy note that was giving off that kind of brioche sort of aroma on the nose, that does carry through in some form to the palate. So the apple character is definitely very fresh here. I'm not getting any sort of baked apple, but that creamy note does give a suggestion of custard, which always makes me want to sort of come up with a, tempted to go down the path of this sort of, baked apple pie with custard sort of route, but I don't think the apples are baked here, so fresh apples and custard, which sounds like an odd combination. And yes, a little bit of stone fruit as well, so yeah, I'll go along with their suggestion that there's some peach there, and that's what the Pinot fruits are bringing to the party, I think. That's pretty nice, actually. It's not completely overwhelmingly Chardonnay dominant. There's definitely at least a bit of Pinot fruit there. I'm noticing the autolytic character a little bit more than perhaps some recent wines, which have been much more fruit driven, fruit forward. And that's not a bad thing. I'm quite liking that, actually. Very pleasant, very easy drinking. Some nice fruit notes and some nice other things to go with it. So, I think for a supermarket own brand wine, and I think they've done a good job there. One thing I would say not really detecting a lot of at the moment is mineral character, and that's something I really look for in Hampshire wines. I always debated, as I say, they've got some really nice soil there, a lot of chalky soil, and I believe that imparts some mineral quality to the wine, but a lot of people say that's all nonsense. I think this is much more about the fruit and the autolytic character, but that's fine. Not everything has to be mineral. Good. Cheers.